our past lays dormant. And you said, things happen and you called it the box. What is that box of past that lays dormant in that box?
Yeah, when we're young children, of course, our brains don't even completely develop until we're in our early 20s. So that we
Mm,
don't have all the reasoning, foresight, so we sometimes forget as adults that when we were young children, we didn't have the capacity to think in the way we do now. So
mm,
sometimes we put these judgments on ourselves as children from the perspective we have as adults, but we didn't have that perspective back then.
mm,
We didn't have the capacity back then. We had very basic capacities in our development. So when we had needs, we had to reach out for those needs.
mhm,
Infants require their caregivers to regulate. They absolutely require that. And so if you have a dysregulated parent,
mm,
you don't have any choice. You're going to have dysregulation. And so, when I was thinking about the topic that we were talking about today and some of the key points, one of the things that I really thought about was
mm,
our North American cultures is founded on Christian principles,
mm,
and there are pros and cons to that, of course.
mhm.
One of the difficulties is that we believe in this basic badness, the original sin,
Right.
and it's not something we learn in grade 1, "Okay, here's the script," right? It's
Mm,
it's in everything.
yeah.
Right? It's sort of like socialization, when we talk about toxic masculinity or we talk
Mm,
about, basic socialization that we need to challenge. And this is one of those. I mean, I remember hearing Pema Chodron talk about a
mm,
meeting with the Dalai Lama, and there were a number of Western healers, and they were explaining to him that the difficulty in North America is that people have a real struggle with self-esteem
yeah.
because they believe in basic badness. And he
Mm,
was surprised. He was like, "Oh, I didn't realize," because in their culture, and in many Eastern cultures, they believe in basic goodness,
yes.
right? And that's a big difference. So, what I've noticed over the years in working with individuals, whether in corrections or in my clientele, general public,
Mhm,
is one of the core things that I needed to start with, and I do it in the training as well, is to talk about the core true self, which is love,
mm,
compassion, goodness. And when I worked in corrections and the men understood that I could see their core goodness, then we could move forward.
ah,
Every setting I've ever worked in, when they understood that I genuinely could see their goodness, they were able to say, "I harmed somebody and I feel terrible about it,
mm,
and I feel evil," I would hear
yeah,
often in corrections. And when we would trace, their actions back to early childhood and understand that, residential school was the beginning of their life at 5 years old, when they
mm,
understood trauma was what was, the sort of foundation or route to, trajectory to
mm,
difficulty, then they could separate trauma versus who I am as a person.
right. Hello there, and thank you so much for stopping by this channel. I hope you find this content useful, and if you do, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It will really help me to reach to more people and keep this content going. Here we are journeying together, and let's see where this takes us.